Brighton. It's probably one of the coolest places in Britain. In fact, it's so trendy that even the chippies have style. These gourmet fish and chips are a little bit like the Mini. They're quintessentially British, well made and very, very tasty. But just like the Mini, they're also a little bit common, and they can leave you wondering whether you should have ordered something a little bit more exotic. Like a nice plate full of gnocchi, which, if you'll allow me one more tedious link, is a bit like the new Alfa MiTo. Right, enough food references, it's time to talk turkey. Sorry, I couldn't resist that one. Anyway, according to Alfa, the MiTo mixes cool design with driving thrills. Well, we'll see about that. Now, this particular model is the range-topping 1.4 litre turbo Veloce, and it costs £14,745. It has 155 horsepower, which is good for 0 to 62 miles an hour in 8 seconds, and a top speed of 134 miles an hour. Now, I tell you what, this little engine is pretty feisty. I mean, it's hardly any turbo, which means you just squeeze the throttle and the car buggers off down the road. Now, this particular Alfa is noticeably quicker than a Mini Cooper, and it's actually closer probably to a Mini Cooper S. Yeah, that car's only 0.9 of a second faster to 60, yet it'll cost you £2 more, and that's before you add any options, and we all know how expensive Mini options can be. The MiTo is designed to match the Mini in terms of handling. It has an electric limited slip differential as standard, and it's also fitted with something called a DNA button. Thankfully, it has nothing to do with biology though. Instead, it lets you choose between 3 different driving modes. There's all-weather, normal and dynamic, which sharpens up the steering and stiffens the suspension. Although, to tell you the truth, it's a little bit of a gimme, because why on earth would you want to drive your Alfa in anything but the sportiest setting? And in dynamic mode, the MiTo has impressive handling. The steering is very quick and the car corners flat with plenty of grip. All this means the MiTo is just as much fun nipping through urban roads as ripping up country back routes. That said, I have to point out this Alfa doesn't feel quite as rewarding to drive as the Mini. I mean, it's not as sure-footed and there isn't the same levels of feedback, but it's still great fun to drive. The MiTo looks very pretty too. The outside is as curvaceous as Michelangelo's Venus, although the front is a little like an 8-seat that's had its nose squashed. Inside it feels sporty and it's loaded with plenty of kit. But does the MiTo have the image to take on the iconic Mini? I took both cars to a design agency to find out. So what did they think?
Well, I mean, the Alfa's nice, it's got some nice curves to it, nice lines and that, but at the end of the day it just doesn't come up to the design that the Mini was. I mean, it's a style icon.
I prefer the Alfa because of the actual styling. It just looks more sporty.
Yeah, it looks a bit bigger than the Mini.
I prefer the Mini because it's more sort of fun, young car. It's quite chunky, it's got some nice little quirky touches, whereas the Alfa is a bit more serious, a bit more of a grown-up car.
So if I had the choice, I would choose the Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, I really like the Mini, but it is a bit common now. Whereas with the Alfa, it's fresh looking, I spent time designing it, and it's got a bit of panache.
So there you have it then. The new Alfa MiTo is a cracking little car. I mean, it looks great, it drives brilliantly, and I'll tell you what, it's a lot better value for money than the Mini. But despite all that, I think I still would rather have a bit of British. Cheers.